Hello, my Storytime friends. Today we're going to read the story Roberto and the Bull by Sid Hoff. Now let's read a story together. Roberto the Bull by Sid Hoff. On a tiny farm in a corner of Spain lived a boy named Roberto. Every day Roberto worked in the field with his mother and father. They were very poor, for the earth was dry and dusty, and they had only an old mule to help them. Once a week, everyone would go to the city to see the bullfights, but Roberto would stay home. He loved animals too much to see them hurt. He especially loved the great fighting bulls who were trained in a nearby field. "Toro, Toro," he would call to them softly. "I am your friend, Toro." Silly Roberto. It wasn't easy to make friends with fighting bulls. They would chase him up a tree and try to stick him with their sharp horns. But Roberto didn't care. He just hung around until the bulls got to know him. "Stay away from the arenas and the matadors," he warned them. One day when Roberto returned to the tiny farm, he found his mother and father in tears. "Our mule has grown too old to pull the plow anymore," they said. "How will we be able to go on working without him?" Roberto tried pulling the plow himself, but it wasn't easy. "It's no use," said his father. "It takes an animal to do that, but where will we get the money to buy one?" "I will go to the city and earn some money," answered Roberto. So he got dressed, said goodbye to his parents, and set out for the city. His mother gave him some bread tied up in a kerchief in case he got hungry along the way. But when lunchtime came and Roberto sat down to eat, a flock of birds gathered around him. They looked hungry. "Here, you may have my lunch," said Roberto, and he gave away all the bread he had. By the time Roberto reached the city, he wished he had kept some bread for himself. There was food in the store windows. There was food in the restaurants. Roberto was so busy thinking of something to eat that he forgot to watch the traffic signals. Zoom! A car came straight toward him. Roberto got out of the way just in time. Zoom! Another car came straight toward him, and he jumped to one side. At last, Roberto made it to the other side of the street. A cheering crowd had gathered at the curb, but Roberto was just glad to be alive. A few men in the crowd approached him. "Anyone who can move that fast," they said, "deserves fame and fortune. Come with us before the police arrest you for jaywalking." Roberto went with them. He had no idea where they were taking him, but he hoped it would be to a restaurant. They took him to a bull ring. People came to the arena to see the new young matador, the youngest in the history of the country. "Viva Roberto!" they shouted. Roberto stood in the center of the arena. He wished he were back on the farm. A great fighting bull came lumbering out. The picadors and other matadors did everything they could to make him angry. Then they got out of the way. The bull saw Roberto and went charging toward him, but Roberto stood his ground. There he is. "Toro, Toro," said Roberto softly. The bull remembered Roberto and stopped charging. It was nice to see an old friend. "We can't use bulls and matadors who won't fight each other," said the men, and they kicked Roberto and the bull out of the arena. "I guess we're both out of a job," said Roberto to the bull. "How about coming back to the farm with me?" The bull nodded yes, and so they both went home. Sometimes the bull charged a little too wildly, pulling the plow, but he got the work done and everyone on the tiny farm was happy. Now, my friends, that's the end. So that was the story, Roberto and the Bull. Now it's time for an idea for a tell, draw, or write activity that connects to our story. You can either tell someone about your favorite animal. Roberto really loved animals, so we're going to think of what our favorite animal is. So tell someone what your favorite animal is, or take a piece of construction paper and draw a picture of your favorite animal. And if you want, you can write underneath it why that animal is your favorite and tell a little bit about it. I can't wait to see everyone next week for another story time. Bye.